Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by expressing my sincere appreciation and thanks to His Excellency Mr. Wang Renqiu, Minister of Ecology and Environment of China, for organizing this important event. It gives me great honor to join you virtually as you celebrate this year's Biodiversity Day. The theme carries a special significance and reminds us that by working together to build a shared future for all life on Earth brings us one step closer to our 2050 vision of living in harmony with nature. As we strive towards our common 2050 vision, we must look at global and domestic leadership for solutions that convey a future path where biodiversity conservation and sustainable development are inseparable. The anticipated post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework will provide us with the blueprint for such action. Together, as we continue our journey to the second part of COP15, we are inspired by China's remarkable progress in building an ecological civilization, and we thank you for your leadership and guidance needed for building a shared future for all life on Earth. I also want to take this opportunity to celebrate the Minister for his leadership on the official launch of the China Business and Biodiversity Partnership, which will provide invaluable contribution to the businesses of all sizes and sectors at national level to support the implementation of the upcoming post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. Colleagues, today, on the International Day for Biological Diversity, we recognize that biodiversity is the foundation upon which we can build a shared future for all life and achieve sustainable development. Biodiversity is the web of life that connects us all. Without it, we cannot achieve the Sustainable Development Goals or solve urgent challenges, including climate change, health, food and water security. When we conserve biodiversity, use it sustainably, and share its benefits equitably, we get that much closer to building a shared future for all life on Earth. This year, the world is coming together to agree on the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, which will set global goals and targets to put biodiversity on a path to recovery by 2030 at the latest. To be agreed upon in Kunming, China later this year, the framework must set the world on a track to the full realization of the 2050 vision of living in harmony with nature. This means effectively protecting more of the world's land, freshwater and oceans, ensuring sustainable consumption and production, mobilizing necessary resources at all levels, and ending harmful subsidies that damage the environment. Colleagues, the draft framework has been evolving considerably in the past 2 years. It will be difficult for me to share key elements of it at this stage, as parties hold different visions, ambition, and priorities. What I can say for sure is that we are in the critical stage of development of this important global framework. As you see, the outcomes from the Geneva Biodiversity Conference in March, there is still considerable divergence among parties on the types of goals and targets to be included in the new framework. This is particularly true for quantitative elements. Many recommendations for capacity building, resource mobilization, mainstreaming, etc., for the implementation of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework is still heavily bracketed. A big uphill journey is ahead of us. We have only one more meeting in Nairobi in June to tackle these challenges, and a few months before we adopt the final framework in Kunming. we have seen signs of convergence emerging from Geneva. First, the texts from Geneva are an important step forward. Second, many parties agree that most of the proposed targets should be included, though they may differ in their formulation. Differences on focus in some targets are being narrowed down. Many parties emphasize that all targets should be simple, clear, and actionable. Thirdly, and more broadly, it seems that all parties wish to see that nature will be put on a path to recovery by 2030 to allow biodiversity and ecosystem services to continue to contribute to human well-being and sustainable development. Many parties emphasize that adequate means and resources to support implementation will be essential. Outside of the negotiations, globally, we have seen a groundswell of action for biodiversity. Nothing fills me with more hope than seeing governments, community, and business leaders and ordinary people accomplishing outstanding work to shift away from activities that deplete biodiversity. I also want to recognize and congratulate the Minister for the excellent results that we achieved for Part 1 of our Conference of the Parties 15 last year in October, which have provided the energy we see in the negotiations and around the world. The Kunming Declaration has energized the entire process by bringing the world together in support of ambition. The Kunming Biodiversity Fund has provided sign that more resources can be mobilized in support of protecting life on Earth. In conclusion, let me call upon each one of us to do our part. Protect the diversity of life we so depend on. Happy Biodiversity Day!